Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Daily Fantasy Digest Podcast, the all-inclusive podcast where we talk all things fantasy sports to help give you an edge. I am your host, Joe Bewer, and I'm going to be breaking down this Tuesday, June 25th, 15-game slate for you here today. Just do a quick recap of yesterday's breakdown. Had Eduardo Rodriguez pitched a decent game. John Gray is pitching a shutout right now, which is just great for the salary that we got him at. And then for the bat stacks, we had the Yankees with Aaron Hicks, a 3-run homer. Dinger of the day called Giancarlo Stanton with a 3-run homer, and had keynotes from the Braves such as Dansby Swanson mentioned, who hit a homer, as well as Ronald Acuna, who had a hit and a stolen base. So just an all-around great day for the Daily Fantasy Digest breakdown for yesterday. But let's jump into today here. You'll see that I have one pitcher already locked into my lineup, which I'll get to him in a second. We have three pitchers above 10K. Max Scherzer at 12.4K, arguably going to be the chalkiest player on the slate. And rightfully so. It's just been pitching out of his mind as of late, over 10Ks in 3 out of the past 4 games. Just been pitching absolutely incredibly well, but 12.4K is just a little too much for me to pay. Seeing as the bat stacks that you're going to want to get in are a little bit pricey, and there's not too many cheap bat stacks that are going to provide some incredible upside with good matchups. For me, Jarrett Cole is a GPP option as well as Bieber. I think that the mid-tier options here for today are going to be the best way to go. So yeah, let's jump right into that. Madison Bumgarner here, 8.2K going up against Colorado. We know Colorado is probably one of the worst teams on the road so far this season. Drew Pomeranz, currently as I'm recording this video, has 11 Ks with only giving up 2 runs against them on the road. They've just been hitting so terribly, and their K percentage per 9 is just through the roof. So I think this just provides a great matchup for Mad Bum. And if we look at recent, last time he played, he had a 22.1 performance with 8 Ks, only allowed 3 runs. It's just something that I think is going to be pretty similar in today's matchup, and I think that 8.2K paying down for pitchers today is definitely going to be the way to go. Now, for SP2, I'm torn between 2 options here. I think Heaney is going to be chalk, but I don't really trust his. I don't trust his stuff versus Cincinnati, who has the power. David Price is a great option as well, going up against the White Sox, but plenty of White Sox bats in a hitter-friendly Fenway Park with some pop in their bats is just not for me. I'm going to go with Jack Flaherty here, pitching absolutely incredibly this year, going up against Oakland, who has been hot, but has not stayed hot recently. And just looking at the games this year, only 1 game negative, only one bad drop-off game. Pretty steadily in the 20s, higher teens to 20s for most part of this year, and 7.9K just really opens up the floor for the bat stacks you're going to be able to get. I think a balanced pitching option tonight is just going to just definitely open up the upside that you're going to need to kind of take down one of these tournaments or even cash games tonight. So let's jump into these bat stacks. There's one main key one I want to talk about, and that's the Phillies, who've been absolutely hot. Going up against Walker Lockett, who got shelled by the Cubs in his opener. I want to lock in Bryce Harper, Jay Bruce right off the bat. And actually, let me put in, I want to lock in Hoskins and Bruce right off the bat. These 3 guys are absolute locks for me. I don't see changing that in any way. There's only one potential change for me, and I'll talk about that next. But Jay Bruce and Bryce Harper are just an absolute incredible duo. Bruce has been going off as the reason he actually did hit a homer tonight, which did not update as I'm recording this video. And then Bryce Harper has 4.5K for somebody of this caliber. He's just been going off as of recent, just kind of really heating up in the Miami series. And then Hoskins also did go yard tonight after quite a short spell of hitting. So I think that this is just a great matchup going up against Walker Lockett, who's probably not going to make it out of the 3rd inning. They're going to have to pull from the bullpen, which just only adds to the Phillies, kind of scheme and how they want to do things for the game tomorrow, pitching Jake Arrieta. So I think that the way that Phillies are rolling this game and the way they're going to roll their lineup out, everybody is so cheap and underpriced that it's really interesting for me it's really hard for me to not stack them. I've figured that Bryce, Bruce, and Hoskins would be more of the 4.8K range, but they're just not, and their prices just haven't been adjusted. So let me jump into my second bat stack here. It's going to be the Milwaukee Brewers going up against Marco Gonzalez. Few things. Yelich, Moustakas, overpriced, but it's a lefty-on-lefty matchup. I know they're still incredible hitters, but I want to lean towards Ryan Braun down here at 4.4K and potentially Lorenzo Cain, who's been hot as of recent. If you can get him in, you'd have to take out Bryce or Jay Bruce. I would lean towards taking out Bryce and then potentially adding somebody like Real Muto or Gene Segura or somebody in there just to kind of get 3 from the Phillies. But I really want to target Ryan Braun tomorrow, as well as Orlando Arcia, who usually hits in the 6th spot and has been on an absolute tear lately. And that really opens up the floor for some potential more bat stacks because tomorrow I really like potentially paying up for catcher. Going with Yasmani Grandal. I think that, we always pay down for catcher on this slate, or on any slate, to be honest. But I think Grandal is he's such an incredible catcher. And at 4.9K, I think a lot of people are going to sleep on him tomorrow. Going up against Marco Gonzalez, he's been hitting leadoff as of recent, which has been really weird. He's either hitting leadoff or 4 spot. So I think that both of these options are really good. And then if you have the cap space, Keston Hiura, he's an incredible hitter. He's hit 2 homers in the past 4 games that he played. Hasn't played in a while, so I might lean off of that. But for sure, Grandal, Arcia, and Ryan Braun are definitely plays for me tomorrow. Going a little bit away from the chalk here on today's slate because a lot of people are going to lean towards Boston Red Sox. Carson Fulmer coming back off the DL, which is rightfully so to lean towards that direction. But I think Milwaukee, their over-unders at 11 and the Phillies over-unders at 10. Like I said, if you ended up switching things up and going, this would be the only other thing I could see, Lorenzo Cain, and then going over to the Phillies and getting Scott Kingery, you'd be left with 3,100 for somebody at third base or at second base, which is definitely doable for tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. You could get somebody like Daniel Descalso going up against Max Fried. You could get somebody going up against Jesse Chavez. This would probably be a good option. Harold Castro batting lefty, who's been going off recently. It's either you're gonna have to make a choice tomorrow. But I think the previous way that I had this in Bryce Harper is just a really, really good way to fit in and diversify the lineup here. This is probably what my lineup's going to look like come lock tomorrow. I'm going to have Mad Bum and Flaherty at pitcher. I think both of them are incredible matchups at home, and both pitch way better at home. The strikeout upside is going to be heavy for Flaherty tomorrow, and then Bumgarner's is going to be elevated with how terrible Colorado is on the road. Definitely want to get in 3 Philly players tomorrow. Hoskins and Jay Bruce are my favorite. Harper and Kingery are the other 2, but I'm going Harper. And then I want to get in Milwaukee Brewers tomorrow. I want to fade Yelich and Moustakas, and I want to go Yasmani Grandal, Orlando Arcia, and Ryan Braun. And Lorenzo Cain is another pivot if you decide to go away from Bryce Harper. But anyways, that leaves you with 3,800 to pick the rest of your players here, which should not be difficult at all for second and third base. So keep that in mind, 3,800 per player with this type of build. But I do want to go ahead and make my dinger of the day call, which is very infamous on this channel. And I want to go ahead and call out Jay Bruce, who's been hitting near the top end of the lineup tomorrow, 4,400. Jay Bruce going up against Walker Lockett. I think it's just a great matchup for Jay Bruce. It's just been a great addition for the Phillies. Just been kind of elevating their power game to the next level. So Jay Bruce is going to be my dinger of the day call and thumbnail of this video. If you wouldn't mind going ahead and smashing the like button and leaving a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the breakdown. Subscribe on YouTube and Apple if you haven't already. And then head on over to Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at FantasyDigest_. You can go ahead and stay up to date with everything that we post about the channel and anything that we might post before lock in regards to fantasy. We will be doing a giveaway for some apparel there soon. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully everybody wins some money tomorrow. Based off these picks. So, good luck to everybody tomorrow, and until next time, we'll see you later on the Daily Fantasy Digest.